Hi YouTube. In the past month, me, my cousin, and my father have been working on a Dino Ferrari V6 engine from a Fiat Dino. Basically, it's a Fiat chassis with a Ferrari V6 engine. Today, I will walk you through the project without going too much into details. And this is the standard engine rebuild process on many cars with a front engine that is attached with a subframe onto the chassis. We'll start with prepping for taking the engine out. Here you see us taking out the cooling system and the lines. Then the radiator comes out to give space for the water pump and the alternator. Here we're taking any part out that stands in the way of the engine, such as the anti-roll bar, the steering rack and the suspension arms, as well as the brakes, which come completely out. We then detach the drive shaft from the transmission to finally free up the engine and start lowering. Since we didn't trust the lift, we also used a couple of lines to give us some extra safety. With the engine out, little by little, we can proceed with taking out the 6 exhausts, as well as the subframe, which is the black part underneath the engine, and finally the transmission and the many bolts under the oil pan, which you can see right here. We then proceed to the distribution system by starting to take off the front engine cover and the timing gears, loosen up the chain, and then taking off the camshafts little by little with all the bolts. Always take your time here and avoid using too much power to break any of these parts. The final step is to unbolt the headers and take them out to uncover the pistons, which in our case didn't need any work as they were pretty new and unused. And this is how you take it apart. We proceed to step 2. Here we start with setting up the valve shims to ensure proper gaps between valve and cams, and you can clearly see us work with a valve tool on a gap measure. Now this is very time consuming, but if properly done, can have a huge impact on how the engine runs. Now here you see us putting back in the timing system. We start with the chain and the gears, which is the only way to start, and then add back in the brace. Now at this point you can choose whether to cover everything up with the front engine cover and start putting in the water pump and then proceed with the headers as we did, or simply proceed with the headers after this step here and set up the timing, which unfortunately is not filmed in this video. Now as you can see here, as I was telling you, we put back in the front engine cover and ensure that the water pump is properly sealed and reattach it back in with the proper specs according to the manual. Now as you can see here, the engine is already complete. We did the headers, we reattached everything, we did the timing, checked that everything was aligned, added transmission and the exhausts, and now we're putting it on the lift to get ready for lifting it. Once that is done, we put it under the car and start lifting it, of course. We also use some braces again to ensure proper safety, and then we proceed with attaching the exhausts, some electrical cables, especially the longer ones, and little by little, the closer the engine gets to its actual position, the more stuff we can attach. In this case, we are proceeding with the speedometer cable and the clutch cable on the other side that you cannot see here. Now here we are aligning the subframe with the actual chassis to get it ready for bolting it in, which we're doing in this step right here. My father on the right side and me on the left side. It's 2 big bolts with the Fiat Dino, which hold the whole engine in place, as well as the subframe on which you can then attach the suspensions. Next step is to attach the drive shaft to the transmission to finally give traction back to the car and bring the power through wheels. You can see also my father attaching the brace to avoid vibration from the transmission, and to complete this step we're also adding another brace right under the connection that you can see now to give some more structure to the whole chassis. Now we lower the car and we can proceed with reattaching the whole cooling system and cooling lines little by little. We start with the back and then proceed with the radiator and the fan, on which we can then attach the larger cooling pipes that go from the radiator to the engine and from the engine back to the radiator, as you can see us doing right now. You also see my cousin with a fuel filter that we will attach later on. It's right on the firewall, and it's a very quick addition to make and an easy step to do. We also fill the cooling system back up, and we're mostly ready to get the engine started, which I will do in another video. Thank you for watching, guys.